Now we go into verse 10. V'ish es kadoshav le'iyu. Every man has ownership over his holy things. And the simple meaning here is that the Torah says, I have to give truma to the Kohen. Can the Kohen come and take my truma? The Kohen could come with a gun and say, listen, I'm the Kohen, this is my truma. The answer is no. I have the right to give my truma to anyone I want to. It's like the laws of charity today. The Torah says every Jew has to give between 10 and 20% to charity. So could the charity collector come and demand it? Brings a gun and he says, hi, I'm here to take your charity. The answer is no. The charity belongs to the person who earns the money. It's his obligation to give it to the recipient, whether it's a poor person or the infrastructure or both, of his choice. Giving the Kohen truma is the right and it is the choice of the donor. So that what we call, and this is a halachic language, tovat hana'ah, the benefit that one receives out of the goodwill of choosing this Kohen over the other, this belongs to the farmer. And that's the meaning in simple terms, V'ish es kadoshav lo yiyu, that each man has ownership of his holy things. The Kohen cannot demand the truma. I could say, I have a brother-in-law who's a Kohen. I want to give my brother-in-law the truma. Ish asher yiten la Kohen. Whatever a man will give to the Kohen, lo yiyeh, shall be his. In a deeper sense, as we will learn. This verse teaches us something much deeper. That how can we guarantee ourselves wealth? How can we be sure that we make a lot of money? Is the answer to work hard? Not necessarily. There are people who work hard and don't make a lot of money. Is the answer to make good investments? Every investment looks good when you make it. So what is the answer? The answer the Torah tells us here is that if somebody wants to have a lot of money, and he has to give tzedakah. He has to give charity. Giving charity is a guarantee that lo yiyeh, that he will have a lot of money. Now let's look in Rashi. 10. Being that it says the obligations of giving gifts to the Kohanim and the Levim. I would think that the Kohen could come and make a hold up and say, you must give me your gifts. Each man has the right to determine which Kohen he gives his gifts to. Magid, this teaches us that the benefit of the pleasure of giving belongs to the donor farmer. I, as a farmer, have a right to choose my Kohen. That's the simple interpretation. So the Kohen has no right to demand the charity. And there are many other interpretations, but there is one medrash that Rashi says I'm going to bring down, that that every man's holy things belong to him. Anyone who withholds his tithes and doesn't give them, he says, I had a bad year, my accountant told me to cut down, I'm not giving charity. In the end, the person who refuses to give charity will end up to be the Kohen. He'll only get 10%. Because Hashem gives people wealth, and Hashem wants the farmer to have 90% and the Kohen to have 10%. If the farmer doesn't give it, in the end, Hashem finds another way to give it, and the farmer ends up with 10%. In the end, his field will only produce a tenth of what it could. There's a famous story told. It's either in Gemara and Medrash of the fellow who was a very wealthy fellow and would give a lot of tithing to the Levi. And then he passed away and his children decided that they're going to give 10% less. So the next year their fields produced 10% less. So they came to their accountant, he says, you better cut down. They gave 10% less, and the next year, their fields produced 10% less. 9 years later, 10 years later, their fields only produced 10% of what they used to. Anyway, they came to the synagogue, and they made a big kiddush in the synagogue in their honor. So they get angry, they're saying, you're making a kiddush in our honor. because we lost money. We used to make so much money, now we're only making 10%. You're making a kiddush in our honor, you're insulting us? They said, God forbid, we're making a kiddush in your honor because you became a Levi. Because originally you used to make 100%. Now you became a Levi, you only get 10%. At least you deserve a kiddush. So therefore, Hashem says, you want to make a lot of money, give the right amount of money to tzedakah. This is the teaching, as Rashi brings down here. There are many meanings, many stories told, and I'm sure you've heard the story in various forms, but just to cut to the chase, I'll tell it in one form of a great Jewish advisor of the Caliph in one of the Muslim countries of old, who was very close to the king, the Caliph, and he had some advisors who were anti-Semitic, who hated him, and who wanted to get him into trouble, so they kept coming to the king, the Caliph, and speaking badly about the Jew, that he steals and he's dishonest and he's hiding money, until one day the Caliph called the Jew and he says, tell me, how much are you worth? The truth of the matter is that this Jewish advisor was worth about 250,000 gold dinars. He says, I'm worth 25,000 gold dinars. So the king says, they're right. I know he's worth 250,000. He's lying, he's saying 25,000. Anyway, he arrested him, confiscated all of his wealth, threw him into prison, and he rotted in prison. Many months later, the king decides that this guy is really a good man. He can't understand what happened. He comes to visit him in prison. He says, please, I want to get you out of here. I know you're honest, but let me ask you a question. Why'd you lie? When I asked you what you're worth, I knew and you knew that you were worth 250,000 gold dinars. Why'd you say 25,000? He says, you didn't ask me how much money I have. You asked me how much money I'm worth. I'm only worth that which I gave away, because anything else could be taken away from me. To prove it, you took it away from me. My real value is that which I've given away. No one can take away from me that which I've given away. And that is the meaning of the ish es kadoshav layiyu, that which a person makes holy and gives to charity, that is his forever and ever and ever. You can't lose it. It can't be taken away from you. Mitzvahs are eternal. Next Rashi, Isha shayitin lakein matnas horuyas loy, that if a person gives the Kohen that which the Kohen merits to get, lo yihye momin harbe, this person will earn a lot of money. This is a promise of the Torah, that when somebody gives the Kohen that which he's supposed to get, the Torah promises that this person will receive from Hashem a tremendous amount of wealth, and that is a promise of the Torah. End of today's Chumash portion.